I was reborn at the exact moment I picked up the wrong glass. The one meant for my boss. This time, I didn't take the wrong glass. I watched him drink it down, then dialed the woman he truly loved, Celeste. In my past life, I was Dominic's secretary and I fell in love with him. When the drug hit my system, I didn't care that he needed to get to Celeste. I grabbed his belt and made him stay. Not long after I found out I was pregnant, Dominic was forced to marry me. But on the day I went into labor with complications, he got the news Celeste had thrown herself off a building. Destroyed by grief, stormed into the delivery room and sent the doctors away. Then he watched me die. The last thing I heard was his voice. If you hadn't gotten pregnant, I never would have been forced to marry you. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back on the day I was poisoned. Iris, all Celeste right now. Hearing that familiar command again, I jolted awake. I'd been reborn. Without hesitation, I grabbed my phone and dialed Celeste's number. Dominic's face was flushed, his eyes burning with desire. The drug was kicking in. This time, I watched coldly as he downed the entire glass. As the drug began to take hold, and he looked at me with struggling, hazy eyes, I quickly finished dialing Celeste. Dominic, just hang on. Celeste will be here in 10 minutes. The moment I closed the door behind me, I thought I heard him call my name, but I pretended not to hear. I shut the door firmly and waited at the end of the hallway. 10 minutes later, Celeste arrived in a rush. She looked at me with a complicated expression. When she saw that my clothes were intact and I was perfectly composed, relief washed over her face. Before pushing open the door, she glanced at me. You can leave now. I don't need you here. I turned and took the elevator down, called a car and went back to my apartment. The next morning, Celeste appeared in the executive office. Dominic lifted his coffee, took a sip, then casually announced to the core management team, "From now on, Celeste is my fiancée. She's also an important future partner for the company. You will all treat her with respect." Then he looked directly at me, pointing with his pen, "Especially you, Iris." I nodded blankly. Celeste smirked, flashing me a triumphant smile. I pretended not to notice. I gathered the meeting notes and started to leave the office. But just as I stood up, I heard Celeste's voice, soft and wounded. "Dominic, does Iris not want me involved in company affairs? I know how important she is to you. If she's unhappy with me being here, maybe I shouldn't come to the office anymore." Her eyes glistened with tears. She looked as pitiful as possible. Dominic frowned. Before he could say anything, I replied, "Of course not. But if you're not satisfied with me, I'll make sure to stay out of your sight from now on." Without waiting for Dominic's reaction, I walked straight back to my office. Half an hour later, my office door swung open and there he was, Dominic, staring at me with dark, stormy eyes. Instinctively, I wanted to close the door. I didn't want to deal with him, but Dominic blocked it with his arm, drowning as he looked at me. "Are you avoiding me?" "Why?" He leaned in closer, studying my face. "Are you upset because of Celeste?" I quickly shook my head. "No. I'm happy for you. You and Celeste finally get to be together." His eyes flickered with something unreadable. He seemed dissatisfied with my answer. "Is that the truth or are you just being passive-aggressive?" Then me scuffed, "Iris, don't tell me you still haven't gotten over me. 3 years ago at the company party, you kissed me when you were drunk. You think I didn't notice? The smartest thing you ever did was never confess. Because if you had, I would have laughed in your face. Laughed at how pathetic and delusional you are." He chuckled to himself, then walked over to my desk and yanked open the bottom drawer. He grabbed a thick stack of printed journal pages and scattered them across the floor. Stepping on them, he leaned down close to my ear, his voice low. "I came here to tell you something. Yesterday when I drank that wine, I saw the look in your eyes. You wanted to be the one to help me, didn't you? Thank God you didn't. Because if you had, I would have been disgusted for the rest of my life. You're not worth it." My heart clenched painfully. Even though I decided not to love him in this life, hearing those cruel words still hurt. After warning me to stay away from him and not make Celeste uncomfortable, Dominic slammed the door and left. I didn't want to be in their way anymore. I had to go out and finalize my transfer paperwork anyway, so I packed up and left that night. I deliberately waited until almost 10 p.m. to return to the office, to pick up some things. The moment I stepped into my office, I noticed something was wrong. My custom ergonomic chair gone. Then I saw it. Celeste had posted on social media a selfie of herself sitting in a luxurious office chair. The caption read, "I just mentioned my back was sore, and he immediately gave me the best chair in the whole company. This is why it's so important to find a man with power, money and thoughtfulness." She'd taken the chair Dominic had custom ordered for me. He used to be so good to me. And now, Celeste made one offhand comment. And Dominic didn't even bother telling me. Before he had my chair taken away. Hearing me return, Dominic stood in my doorway and said coolly, "Celeste has back problems. I gave her your chair. Your injury's healed anyway. Any chair will do for you now. I didn't even look up. I murmured. Dominic's frown deepened, stared at me intently. Are you plotting something? I'm warning you, if you dare do anything to Celeste, I'll make sure you never work in this industry again. I finally looked up. I'm not trying to do anything to anyone. I just want to be left alone. And isn't this what you always wanted? For me to be more professional? You should be happy. Dominic pressed his lips together. Then almost like a sulking child, he repeated, fine. Fine, Iris. You're just great. He slammed the door on his way back to his office. A month later, Celeste announced she was pregnant. Dominic was over the moon. He wanted to tell the whole world. The wedding was moved up immediately. Everyone in the company was gossiping about the upcoming ceremony. In this life, the one who got pregnant was the woman he actually loved. And I decided to let them have it. As soon as my transfer paperwork was finalized, I booked a flight to Italy scheduled for the same day as their wedding. Dominic finally broke and came to find me, waited until Celeste wasn't at the office, then pushed open my door. He pulled out his phone, opened an email from HR and shoved it in my face. You applied for an overseas transfer? What? You're so devastated by my wedding that you're running away? My heart skipped, but his next words eased my tension a little. When I didn't answer, his tone turned cold. Iris, are you done with this tantrum? Ever since Celeste started coming to the office, you've been avoiding me, but I'm going to marry her eventually. So what? You're planning to keep avoiding me even after the wedding? I shook my head. Dominic, I think you misunderstand. I only see you as the boss who mentored me. I'm grateful. That's all. He laughed like I just told the funniest joke. Grateful? Iris, everyone in this company knows you're hopelessly in love with me. Who's going to believe you're just grateful? Do you even believe that yourself? He glanced at the bookshelf in my office and smirked. All these gifts I gave you over the years. You've kept them so carefully and you're telling me you don't love me? He walked over and picked up the items one by one. A limited edition pen brooch. A watch. Then he said seriously, you should put all this stuff away. I'm about to marry Celeste. You need to stop holding on to these ridiculous fantasies. I said, and immediately started packing everything into a cardboard box. I was planning to get rid of it all before leaving the country anyway. Might as well do it now, seeing how calm I was. Dominic frowned and grabbed my wrist. Iris, can't you be more careful? Look, you bent the nib on this pen. I glanced at the luxury pen in his hand. It was the first gift he ever gave me. The day I passed my probation and officially became his secretary. For years, I treasured it. I wouldn't let anyone else even touch it. But now I just tossed it carelessly into a box. And Dominic couldn't stand it. Iris, you're clearly devastated about me marrying Celeste. You're running away. But now you're pretending you don't love me anymore. He exhaled sharply. Fine. Maybe it's good for you to cool off overseas. Celeste is in a delicate stage of her pregnancy. It's better if you're not around. Anyway, Dominic pulled out his phone and transferred $10,000 to me. Take this, get yourself settled in Italy after work. Travel around a bit. Take a month to clear your head. Bye. Then Celeste's pregnancy will be stable. He looked at me meaningfully. Adjust your mindset while you're abroad. Don't miss me too much. I'm going to be a married man. You need to get used to it. Otherwise, working together later is going to be awkward. Dominic gave me a few more instructions about the overseas assignment. He didn't know I'd been reborn. And this time I was really leaving. On Dominic's wedding day, both the hotel and the company headquarters were bustling. Early in the morning, while everyone was focused on the ceremony, I quietly grabbed my suitcase, got in a cab and headed straight to. Dominic had changed into his wedding suit, but he didn't leave with the groomsmen to pick up the bride. For some reason, he found himself walking to Iris's office, wanted to see her one last time. But when he got there, the office was empty. All her personal belongings were gone. The only thing left on her desk was a standard resignation handover checklist. His heart skipped a beat. He assumed she must have gone to the wedding venue early to help with preparations. That thought calmed him down enough to go pick up Celeste. He was beyond excited. Today he was finally marrying the love of his life. And soon they'd have a child together. Just thinking about it made him smile uncontrollably. The moment he saw Celeste. Chapter 5. The Phantom Limb. Dominic stood at the altar. The church filled with white lilies and the murmur of the city's elite. When the doors opened and Celeste appeared, radiant in lace and silk, the knot in his chest loosened slightly. She was beautiful. She was carrying his child. This was the life he had fought for. Do you, Dominic, take this woman? I do, he said, his voice firm. But as he slipped the ring onto Celeste's finger, his eyes darted to the back of the church. He was looking for a flash of dark hair, a familiar silhouette holding a clipboard, orchestrating the chaos as she always did. She wasn't there. During the reception, the absence grew louder. When the caterer asked about the champagne toast timing, Dominic instinctively turned to his left, expecting Iris to handle it. He found only air. "Where is she?" he muttered, checking his phone for the 10th time. "Who, honey?" Celeste asked, leaning on his shoulder, her hand protective over her stomach. "Iris. She was supposed to coordinate the vendors." Celeste's smile tightened. "Dominic, it's our wedding day. Can we not talk about your secretary?" She probably realized she wasn't needed. "I have my own planner, remember?" Dominic nodded, pocketing his phone. But the unease didn't leave. It felt like walking down a staircase and missing a step, a jarring physical sensation of something vital missing. The next morning, Dominic walked into the office. He expected to see Iris at her desk, perhaps looking tired from the travel, ready to give him a passive-aggressive report on the Italian branch. Her desk was bare. Not just clean erased. The photos, the succulents, the specific brand of pen she liked, all gone. He marched to HR. "Where is Iris?" he demanded of the director, Sarah. Sarah looked up, surprised. "Mr. Vance?" She resigned. "Effective yesterday. Didn't you get the email?" "Resigned." The word felt foreign in his mouth. "She transferred. I approved the transfer." "No, sir. She declined the transfer offer 2 days ago. She submitted her full resignation and liquidated her stock options. She's gone." Dominic felt the blood drain from his face. "Gone where?" "She didn't leave a forwarding address. Just said she was pursuing personal opportunities abroad." He walked back to his office, the silence ringing in his ears. He sat in his chair, the expensive ergonomic one he had kept for himself, and stared at the door. She had left. She hadn't just run away to pout in Italy, she had cut him out. Like a tumor. For the first time in years, Dominic felt a flicker of fear. He had always assumed Iris was a constant, a fixed point in his universe. Even when he pushed her away, he knew she would be there when he turned back. But now the orbit was empty. Chapter 6. The Crack in the Foundation. 3 months passed. Dominic's life should have been perfect. He was married. He was expecting a son. But the company was bleeding. Iris had been more than a secretary. She was the architect of his efficiency. She knew which clients needed scotch and which needed tea. She knew the filing system that looked chaotic but was actually a complex code. She knew the passwords he forgot. The new secretary, a young man named Brad, was competent but clueless about the nuance. "Mr. Vance, the merger documents for the Henderson account are missing," Brad stammered one Tuesday. "Check the blue folder." Dominic snapped. "There is no blue folder, sir." Dominic slammed his hand on the desk. Iris would have known. Iris would have had it ready before he asked. At home, things were fraying. Celeste's pregnancy was difficult. She was bedridden for weeks, demanding constant attention. Dominic tried to be the doting husband, but he was exhausted. One night, sitting by Celeste's bed, his phone buzzed. A reminder popped up. Iris's birthday. He stared at the screen. He had said it years ago. He usually bought her a gift, something impersonal but expensive. He opened his contacts. Her number was still there. He typed, "Happy birthday. Hope Italy is treating you well. Send." Error, message not delivered. She had blocked him. He felt a surge of irrational anger. How dare she? After everything he did for her? He gave her a career. He gave her a generous severance. The $10,000 felt paltry now. He hired a private investigator the next day. "Find her," he told the man. "I need to know where she is. For company security reasons." It took 2 weeks. "She's in Rome," the PI reported, sliding a folder across the desk. "She's working for an art restoration firm. Entry level, but she seems happy." Dominic opened the folder. There were photos. Iris walking down a cobbled street. Iris eating gelato. Iris laughing with a man, a tall, rugged Italian guy with paint on his jeans. Dominic stared at the photo. He had never seen her laugh like that. With him, her smiles were always professional, guarded, or pained. Here she looked free. He felt a twist in his gut that he recognized as jealousy. Not romantic jealousy, he told himself. Possessiveness. She was his discovery. His loyal soldier. "Keep watching her," Dominic ordered. Chapter 7. The Unraveling. 6 months later, Celeste gave birth. It was a chaotic night. She went into labor early. Dominic rushed her to the hospital, his heart pounding. When the baby was born, a boy small and screaming, the doctors whisked him away to the NICU. "He's a bit premature," the doctor said. "And, Mr. Vance, we need to run some blood tests. There are some inconsistencies." "Inconsistencies. Blood type. You're AB positive. Celeste is O positive. The baby is B negative." Dominic frowned. "I haven't done biology since high school document. What does that mean?" The doctor looked uncomfortable. "It means, it's biologically impossible for you to be the father." The world stopped spinning. Dominic walked into Celeste's room. She was holding a stuffed bear, looking exhausted but happy. "Did you see him?" she asked. "He has your nose." Dominic stood at the foot of the bed. He has B-negative blood, Celeste. Celeste froze. The color drained from her face faster than the blood from a wound. What? I'm up. You're O. We can't make a B-negative baby. His voice was deadly calm. Who is he? Celeste started to cry. Dominic, please. It was one time. When we were on a break. Before the engagement. We were never on a break, he roared. You told me this was my son. You rushed the wedding because of him. I did it for us, she screamed. I knew you wanted a family. I knew you wouldn't marry me if you were carrying another man's child? He laughed, a harsh, broken sound. You're right. I wouldn't have. He walked out. He left her in the hospital. He left the baby. He went to a bar and drank until he couldn't see. And in the drunken haze, he thought of Iris. Iris, who loved him when he was nothing. Iris, who would have carried his child. Iris, who died in another life because of his negligence. He realized then that he had broken the only thing that was real to chase a mirage. Chapter 8. The Confrontation. Dominic flew to Rome 3 days later. He didn't care about the company. He didn't care about the scandal brewing back home. He needed to fix the timeline. He found her at the art restoration studio. She was wearing a smock, carefully cleaning an old oil painting. Her hair was tied back messy. She looked beautiful. Iris, he said from the doorway. She didn't jump. She finished the stroke she was working on, placed the brush down, and turned slowly. Her eyes were cool. Not angry. Just distant. Dominic, she said. You're far from home. I made a mistake, he blurted out. He walked toward her, hands open. Celeste, the baby isn't mine. She lied. It's over. I'm divorcing her. Iris leaned against the table, crossing her arms. I'm sorry to hear that. That sounds painful. It is. But it made me realize. I was blind. You were the one, Iris. It was always you. You knew me better than anyone. He reached for her hand. She stepped back. I'm not a backup plan, Dominic. You're not. You're my priority. Come back. Come back to New York. We can start over. I'll fire everyone. We'll run the company together. We'll get married. Iris laughed. It was a dry, humorless sound. Married? To the man who told me I was pathetic and delusional? Dominic flinched. I was angry. I was scared of how much I needed you. No, Iris said, shaking her head. You weren't scared. You were arrogant. You thought I would wait forever. In my last life. I did wait. Dominic frowned. What? Never mind, she said. Dominic, look at me. I'm happy. I have a life here. I have a job where I create things, not just fix yours. I have Marco. The painter. Dominic sneered. He can't give you what I can. He gives me peace, she said softly. He gives me respect. He doesn't need me to bleed for him. I can change. Dominic shouted, desperation clawing at his throat. I'll be better. You won't, she said. Because you only want me now that you've lost everything else. You don't love me, Dominic. You just hate being alone. She turned back to her painting. Please leave, or I'll call the carabinieri. Dominic stood there for a long minute. He looked at her back, the back of the woman who had once taken a bullet or a poison for him. She wasn't his anymore. He turned and walked out into the Roman sun. It felt cold. Chapter 9. The Fall. Dominic returned to New York a broken man. The divorce was messy. Celeste fought for half of everything, threatening to leak company secrets. The scandal tanked the stock price. The board of directors, tired of his erratic behavior and personal drama, voted to remove him as CEO. He was bought out. He had millions, but he had no purpose. He spent his days in his penthouse, drinking expensive scotch and staring at the city. One night he found the box. The box Iris had packed. He opened it. The bent pen. The brooch. The watch. He picked up the pen. He remembered the day he gave it to her. She had looked at him with such adoration it made him uncomfortable. He had dismissed it then. Now he would give anything to see that look again. He uncapped the pen. It was dry. He tried to write with it on a napkin. Nothing. He threw it across the room. It shattered against the wall. He broke down sobbing. Chapter 10. The Epilogue. 5 years later. Iris walked into a gallery in London. It was her first solo exhibition as a restoration expert. She had made a name for herself uncovering lost details in Renaissance art. Marco was by her side, holding their daughter, heavy with sleep. Mama. The little girl pointed at a painting. Yes, amore, Mama fixed that one. Iris smiled, kissing her cheek. She felt a gaze on her. She turned. Standing near the entrance was a man. He looked older. He had gray at his temples. He was wearing a suit that was nice but not bespoke. Dominic. He didn't approach. He just watched her. He saw the child. He saw Marco's hand on her back. He saw the peace radiating off her. He nodded, just once. A silent acknowledgement of defeat. A silent apology. He turned and walked out the door, disappearing into the London rain. Iris watched him go. She felt a phantom twinge in her chest, the memory of a poison that had killed her once. But she took a deep breath. The air was clean. Who was that? Marco asked. Nobody, Iris said, turning back to her family. Just a ghost from a story I finished writing a long time ago. She took her daughter from Marco's arms and walked into the light of the gallery, leaving the shadows behind forever.